while since we talked about the New Orleans Saints. Obviously, I'm sort of living through a breakup. Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara have to bid each other adieu as Mark Ingram heads to the Ravens. But we have some other news out of New Orleans this morning, and we bring in Tom Pelissero, welcoming him to Good Morning Football. Tom, what do you got on Drew Brees?
Okay, the Saints completed what's known as a simple restructure on Drew Brees' contract yesterday that clears $10.8 million in cap space for them in 2019. Now, Brees is still due $23 million in cash. He didn't take a pay cut or anything. What they did was take a big roster bonus that was due later this week and part of his base salary, converted that to an amount that's treated like a signing bonus. So they're going to take a lump sum of dead money on their cap into future years, even though Brees' contract is set to void after this year, but it gets them a little bit of short-term flexibility at a time that they've got a lot of moving parts. Our NFL media insider Ian Rappaport has reported they have the top receiving tight end in free agency, Jared Cook, set to visit, as well as one of the top edge rushers still available, Ezekiel Ansah, as well. The Saints have done this in the past, freed up money to potentially make free agent moves, and they also have a situation that continues to play out with their backup quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater. Now, my understanding is the Saints believed that they had a commitment from Bridgewater to return on a one-year deal as Brees' backup. However, they never agreed to the money on that deal before the negotiating period began. And what happened yesterday was Teddy Bridgewater ended up visiting the Miami Dolphins. Their options have become more limited for their starting quarterback, with Tyrod Taylor agreeing to a 2-year contract with the Chargers. So Bridgewater still in play potentially for the Dolphins at a time that the Saints are still hoping he ends up back in New Orleans working behind Brees.
Appreciate you. Tom Pelissero will talk to you throughout the morning here on Good Morning Football. Teddy Bridgewater, not official. Drew Brees restructuring, not getting paid less with his contract. So we'll talk about this at the breakfast table now, because Teddy Bridgewater, I don't really know what to make of that situation or what I would do if I was him.
Yeah, the good news for Saints fans is that with $10.8 million of free cap space that they just created, they can go and look to re-sign Teddy or Ezekiel Ansah or Jared Cook. The bad news, you push it back to 2020, Drew Brees is a 42-year-old quarterback making $41.3 million on your salary cap, which is just insane. So it tells me they have no first-round pick. They're all in right now for free agency. Like, they traded up for Marcus Davenport last year. If you're making this moves, like, there's going to be a move made by the Saints. They have to, they're striking now. Like, that is what this is.
What would Teddy want? I feel like Teddy is in a relationship with the Saints.
Okay.
Heavily friend-zoned. You know, we're going to be together. I know, I just got a DN. And then meanwhile, the Dolphins are this nice girl who want to be with him. It's like the Dolphins are like Boof from Teen Wolf, you know, like good, virtuous, everything, but those Saints are that Pamela. And they're just waiting and waiting, and I don't know if there's a promise there. If I was him, I go right to the Dolphins. I'd lay down in the parking lot and say, I want to be your quarterback. Chances like that don't come around. Teddy has not played quarterback in years,
It's only
guys.
32 starters, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a wish and a dream that someday I'm going to be the Saints quarterback. Drew Brees might play till he's 45 years old. We don't know that. The Dolphins are asking, answer.
You never know what he wants around him, though. When it comes to pure talent, the Saints, they're loaded.
Of course.
Looking at the Miami Dolphins might not be the case, but I'm more interested in Drew Brees, in that restructuring. How did that conversation go? They go to Drew and say, hey, Drew, we need you to restructure this contract. He says, oh, well, how much you want to give me? No.
I'd be happy to
Not
restructure.
that type of restructure. We need to take some of your money and move it. And Drew hits him with the Fry from Futurama eyes. Like, oh, we're going to pay you later. Oh, okay, well, we can restructure my contract. You know, I can appreciate that Drew's trying to help out the fact that Bridgewater would love to come back to the Saints. But I do think it's a level of comfort and a level of talent that surrounds the quarterbacks when it comes to Saints. And I don't think he wants to go to Miami.
I mentioned this after the Super Bowl. I'm not ready for this wave of quarterbacks to go away. So with all this tiptoeing that's going to start happening, maybe even this year, with what's the plan for Brady? What's the plan for Eli? What's the plan for Rivers and Drew Brees? These teams eventually, like, I'm sorry, LA Chargers, I love Phillip Rivers more than anybody, but eventually they're going to have a backup plan. Is this Teddy Bridgewater? Is he a placeholder? Is he being friend zoned? Is he being promised something else in the future? I don't know, but some of these issues, if these are 40-year-old quarterbacks now, they're going to have people sitting behind them, or they'll have to strike
There's
them
also
in the
Taysom
draft.
Hill, too.
Yeah, that is
Taysom
true.
Hill's there.
And they might
I'm
also
just not
start giving
ready
back
for it.
money, right? We all got peaked when we heard Brees was giving back money. And Belichick doesn't give up draft picks. Chrissy Teigen doesn't give up awards.